Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle. Me. In my series Year 2026 Rick Miracle Report, and this is number 41. Today is May 7th. This year is flying by. Can't believe it. January, February, March, April. I've been in Florida on my 5th month. Time is flying. So here I am, and apparently updating your mailing address is important. Mail forwarding and change of address. And a whole lot of other things I've had to do to make adjustments in this new environment. A little bit hot down here compared to the mountains of North Carolina. But on the other hand, I spent most of my life down here, so I'll figure it out. So anyways, to my surprise, this came in the mail. The May-June issue of Nexus Magazine, number 3. They come out every 2 months. You might want to go get this magazine if you don't have one. They sell them at the big box stores, bookstores. So the first thing I always do is I look at the cover. Marching in lockstep to a new world order. So what do you think? You think this new world order is coming? Or is it here? Computer interfaced communication with other realms. I keep talking about this stuff. Computer interfaced communication with other realms. So what other realm do you think they're communicating with when we know that the synagogue of Satan people control the world and are behind all this technological research, including biological weapons development, electromagnetic weapons development, mind control, etc., etc., chemical weapons development? It's insane. It's computer interface communication with other realms. I know some people probably think I'm crazy talking about this all the time, but they show us what's going on. CERN the Collider, different movies, going through the stones, Stargate, going through the portals. Even Gene Roddenberry with Star Trek, who was into the occult, psychic, and meditation. There's books written. And he would go into a meditative state, apparently go into other realms, and get the storyline for the next show, which always had reptilians in the show, or other gray alien types. Just saying, how far back can we just track all this information? H.G. Wells, in his book, he was one of the elites. The Time Machine. I'm just saying. Edgar Cayce, all the material he published. People better believe other realms, and I don't think they're communicating with heaven, contrary to the news I watch every morning. And this morning it was a national prayer day or prayer week, and all the politicians were getting up there and talking about prayer and God and all that stuff. I wanted to toss my cookies and stick my finger down my throat and throw up. They're lying, they're lying, they're lying. On one hand, they're on Jeffrey Epstein's plane list and island visit list, communicating with him. Even the one who controls all the banks all over the world, the Rothschilds, is mentioned there unknown number of times. So many times. It's in an article here. Clearing the air over climate. So I get this magazine, I read this stuff. and I see the sky spraying in Florida is worse than when I left. And it is causing me to have respiratory problems. So if I look outside and it's not spraying or not spraying too much, I'm breathing okay. Then I can be inside gasping for air, and I go, not again, and I go outside and they are spraying like crazy. I seem to have a early detection system, some kind of allergic reaction to whatever it is they're dumping. Since 2005, 6, 7, when I noticed it starting to happen to me. But then again, I am slightly asthmatic since I was a younger person, probably as a result of the vaccines that they pumped into we the people, and they're pumping in even more into the children right now. And they get lifelong diseases and early autism and dementia and all kinds of other things. Vaccinations are evil, notwithstanding the fact vaccination, the word itself, is 666 in a numerology calculator. A is 6, B is 12, C is 18, D is 24. Just keep adding 6. It's no small thing. Aleister Crowley, the evilest man alive, changed the spelling of his last name to be 666. It's no small thing. It's witchcraft, magic, the occult. Computers interfacing communication with other realms. Again, so what realms do you think they're communicating with? When Nikola Tesla said, when he was older, I'm not the genius you think I am. He would get up on stage. He said, I have visions and dreams and voices, and I write the stuff down. He had a degree in electrical engineering, and then he would go back to the laboratory and do what the beings on the other side told him in his dreams and visions and voices. Then his handlers, like the Morgans and stuff like that, they would run up there and pull him off the stage. Just saying, this other side is real. But a good portion of the world thinks that when they die, they just die. Evidence for phantom time. I didn't read that one yet. Phantom time. So can there be this warping of time, like the Mandela effect? Something happens. Everything shimmers. Maybe it's during a storm, maybe an electrical storm. And when you come back, the names of some things might have changed. Somehow flickered, Did we all just shift into a different dimension or something? Are there multiple dimensions? Crazy questions, very few good answers. Rediscovering the current of life. Well, I will tell you this, the current of life. Everything is connected. And you can verify that. Abby Meslow, go get his book, who wrote a book on using the pendulum. And as you probably are aware, any object has a certain frequency. A gold stone, a diamond, a piece of copper. So apparently, because it has the same frequency, and you got two pieces of copper, the same frequency, there becomes a sympathy between the two, a resonance. And there's an invisible line of a frequency between the two at the same frequency. And you can take a pendulum and you can stroke it through two pieces of nickel, two pieces of copper, two pieces of quartz, rose quartz, like res quartz, which would have a different frequency than purple quartz or whatever. So if they're the same thing, you put the pendulum through it, and I can do it, and the pendulum will go through. When it hits that line, it'll stall for a second, and you're moving your hand slowly, but it stalls on its own. Your hand in the string doesn't stall, but you can see the pendulum itself stall, like it's hitting some invisible wall. It's because the two objects of the same frequency have a wave between them. When the pendulum goes through it, it disrupts the pendulum's movement. Yeah, some people find gold doing that. They get a piece of gold and they know that the gold, if there's any gold out there, 1,000 feet, whatever, that between that piece of gold and the one in their hand, there'll be that line of frequency. And they can go around the gold like this, and wherever it goes, starts shaking, that's the line where the gold is, that they can go prospect and get closer and close in on it. And they do that the same thing with oil. They get a mason jar full of crude oil, and when they propose drilling a well, some people who know how to do this will go take a mason jar full of crude oil from the ground and hold it over where they're going to drill, and if it vibrates, he knows it's matching what's in the ground. If it doesn't even move at all, he'll go, there's nothing in there, I'm not going to investigate. And I've showed those books by people who do it, make a lot of money. So Rediscovering the Current of Life, I need to read that. I would say that everything is electromagnetic, kind of a plasma, and even we humans, if we didn't have our soul inside of our body, in other words, if somebody could magically extract the soul from me, for example, the physical body would just plop over dead. And the same thing with animals, plants, anything. So there's a spiritual component, some invisible plasma type stuff that's part of all of this construction of everything that's around us. In my educated opinion, 21 years of research, and I've talked about these things in other videos, and I am reposting my early videos from the first year or two, and I'll continue to do that, and you can see where I went over those books on the topics. So it's interesting for me at this point in the game, from beginning my research in 2005 and to be in 2026, 21 years later, and then get the current edition of the Nexus magazine and see these articles. I know a lot more now than I knew when I started, of course. And those people who watch my videos are also much more aware of different issues and topics. Is our universe a resonant instrument? That's interesting, those two topics are right next to each other. Is our universe a resonant instrument? I just explained that. Rediscovering the current of life. That's part of the same explanation. The whole thing is some kind of plasma, and whatever the frequency is, call it part of the DNA code that gathers together the material from the egg and the sperm in a woman's womb to give the design for the human body. And the same thing with animals. And seeds you put in the ground have the frequency, and then in the water, the soil, the sun, it grows every year. God's design is a miracle. And on the bottom here, UFO encounters, spiritual awakenings, prophetic visions of Chris Bledsoe. So UFO encounters and spiritual awakenings and prophetic visions. So what do you think? After all these explanations I just gave you about the universe. So I think the UFO, gray alien, reptilian beings are part of some kind of technology, magic, if you want to call it that, occultism, that they've been working on for a couple hundred years to bring these entities into this dimension. And that's been shown throughout history. John Dee the magician, he drew pictures of the beings he was communicating with, looked like gray aliens. Aleister Crowley changed his last name to be 666, Crowley. And the beings that he drew, Lamb and Aiwass, looked like gray aliens. Gene Roddenberry going into a meditative state, crossing the veil, coming back with a new storyline for the next Star Trek issue. gray aliens, reptilian beings. The paintings by the priest in Peru taking ayahuasca drug. And they take the drug and they go to the other side and they come back and some professor gave them some paint and stuff and some canvases and said, some art, some of the witch doctors, if you want to call them that, medicine men, that had a talent for painting. And they would paint what they saw. You can look it up on your computer. Ayahuasca images, ayahuasca paintings. I've showed those. You can see it firsthand what the medicine man went up to the other side, where they got a lot of the cures for the ailments of the people in the tribe, which is something that's kind of historic for the ancient peoples everywhere, American Indians, Mexicans, peyote and all that. And over there in Asia, they would go into these, have medicine men and go into these meditative states and go to the other side and come back with cures for diseases. Apparently all of which the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and the other elites, bloodlines of the Illuminati folks, of the Synagogue of Satan, along with the people which established the current state of Israel, they've been stealing and taking credit for all these technologies, getting these cures from these medicine men, taking it to the lab and creating a synthetic concoction, patenting it, because they couldn't patent what the beings from the other side gave the medicine men, like some bark of this tree and a leaf of that tree and a little bit of moss over here, and mix it all together and then give the sick person 1 teaspoon. Once they figured it out, they take it to the laboratory and patent it, create a synthetic version of it, and boom, and then they ban and make illegal all the herbal medicines, and they have we humans under their control. All right, so here's some of the articles. Just keeping you updated, how my day goes, what I'm doing. Global news. We report on preschoolers' use of social media. Preschoolers, children who go to, before they even go to school, before they're even 5, using social media. What do you think of that? Good thing or scary thing? Brain cells playing computer games. So apparently they got technology now. They can take some cells from a brain, maybe a rat brain, a human brain, a bird brain, whatever, and hook it up to some electrodes, and they'd be able to train these things to play regular games. Big Pharma's influence on medical journals. Of course, the big pharmaceuticals are paying all the journalists who are writing the articles. So what do you think the articles are going to say? They're going to say what the people who pay them want them to say, just like all the other media that they control. CIA control via vaccination. I was reading that article. CIA control of humanity via vaccination. I read the article already. Epstein and the Rothschilds. Rothschilds mentioned in the Epstein documents many times. Do you understand the implication of the people on Jeffrey Epstein's plane and doing the things they did, also control all the banks all over the world and are bringing us this new digital prison, this new world order? Do you understand that? Secret tunnels in Peru. These are things I made book reviews on over the years. So apparently from the Andes Mountains in South America, just like all over the world, there were in the mountains, in the ground, facilities created by some intelligent beings to save a remnant of humanity before the Great Flood. So they knew the Great Flood was coming, and they were building all these tunnels and enclaves in the ground or in mountains. And they're supposed to be fantastic in design. We've seen some of the monuments on the surface. U.S. and Israel igniting Armageddon. Well, they're igniting something, that's for sure. And I think it's only a matter of time before the ripple effect hits the economy and everything else. Clearing air over climate debate. I haven't read that one yet. But we know it's all a deception. When the body remembers, the body's electrical communication awakens the immune system. So they've messed with all these things that your natural body can do and does. Towards a post-human world order. So T.J. Coles explains how we are being marched in lockstep to a new world order by systems tracking us for social control, surveillance transforming us into digital serfs, censorship such as criticism of Israel's eroding freedom of expression, and more. Yeah, we got some interesting times ahead. Are you ready? Not just materialistically ready, psychologically ready. Phantom time hypothesis. The theory concludes the degree of Canopus is likely origin of the Alexandrian calendar. I got to read the article. Science News, neurological warfare. See the repetition of these things I'm talking about? Neurological warfare. The brand new issue of Nexus Magazine, May-June 2026. Neurological warfare. The latest technologies employed in warfare, including 5G and 6G, which surrounds us all, microwave radio frequencies, and graphene nanomaterials. And remember, personally, I worked in a major aerospace company for 10 years. I have a degree, I went to school, graduated, with a degree in electronic technology. So I was on the inside from 1980 to 1990. I was there with the scientists and the engineers and an engineering technician. They would design it, I would build it. So I was fairly knowledgeable. I went to a pretty good school. Comet 31 Atlas Pascal's triangle. The universe organizes itself through simple, elegant, harmonic structures. So we can't believe anything they want to tell us about the universe. NASA is always lying. And watching the news every morning, the stuff that comes out of the politicians and all the other spokesmen's mouths is so irritating that it's a constant shovelful of lies. And in amongst those lies, or you can pay attention if you want to pay attention, they'll tell you how great they are, how great each other is, how fantastic they're doing, while they're doing all these things I'm talking about. Goebbels in Germany said, tell a big, big lie and tell it often, and the people will believe it because it's too absurd to not be believable. People just wouldn't believe you'd tell such a big lie. Just like the moon thing. I published a video on the Artemis moon circling. And there's professors and all kinds of experts pointing out all the obvious problems with the whole thing. And then it was all created in Hollywood studios. And a lot of it was so poor, anybody can see it. We already know AI can do anything. And they needed to do it on April Fools, plus the 250th anniversary of the United States, and a year that President Trump is celebrating by trying to put his name on everything, statues of him and monuments to him. It's just endless how great these people are. And we find out he was a Kabbalah student, which means if he went to the highest level, apparently he did, that makes him a sorcerer. You need to look into this Kabbalah stuff. Then they got that commercial on Amazon the nethers, and if the sorcerer has their way, this world will wither away. And then that creature in the nether commercial comes out and says, I'm going to kick my butt. He says he's going to kick his butt, and he's the greatest sorcerer. Trump is the greatest sorcerer, obviously. Look at the magic he's doing. And he's saying in this commercial, which they've been playing for the past couple of months, almost every half an hour every day, so I have to believe it's a subliminal message. And he says, the sorcerer, I'm going to kick my butt. He's going to kick his own butt. Everything they say is backwards. MEGA, Make America Great Again, means they're going to destroy America. You've got to get it through your head. Everything they say is backwards. We're going to the moon. They didn't go to the moon. Iran was getting close for a nuclear weapon. Of course it wasn't. The Palestine people are all a threat. No, they were never a threat. They were already in a prison. But they want to expand the boundaries of Israel for greater Israel that you can look up. But then again, you can't talk about these things. They'll accuse you of being an anti-Semite, which they're going to make it a crime everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. We made it a law. You can't talk about us. So if you talk about us, you're arrested and you're going to be prosecuted and probably executed. I passed the Noahide laws. I'm not about to give up my belief in Jesus Christ, no matter how people in the comment section keep trying to convince me. Anyways, the Cheney Project, I haven't read this at all. A computer interface communication with other realms. You can be sure I'm going to read that. Computer interface with other realms. You think they're communicating with heaven or hell? With serpents, gray aliens, and mass murder, and genocide, and vaccinations, and a new world order, matching prophecy in the Bible, aligning with Armageddon, which means that a whole lot of people who resist will be eliminated. All right, strange times, UFOs, visions, and more. All right, so the next thing I do after looking at the front cover and that information page, the contents, I usually read Duncan, the editor's letter, which I've read it. So let's see what Duncan said here. I thought this was video worthy to talk about what's in this magazine and comparing it to everything else I've been saying and seeing and things you've been seeing and links to videos some of you out there have been sending me and emailing me with information. Everything changes. It is the middle of March as I write this editorial. The United States and Israel and Iran are attacking each other's military bases and resource infrastructure. So it's all planned. So they want to destroy the bases all around, in my opinion. Oil is over $100 per barrel and climbing. It's going to hit home really hard. Even though we got plenty of oil here in the USA, but they got to milk us, like Benjamin Netanyahu said. Once we're done milking the golden calf, America can dry up and go away. This is the Prime Minister of Israel said that. Look it up. You can find the quote. This is the guy we're helping genocide the people all around him. Look it up. Pay attention. That's the most frustrating thing about my researching, making videos for research 21 years and videos for over 15. It seems I'm getting very little impact, but I know I'm getting some impact. And of course, I tell myself, if just one person making this video, me spending an hour or more, an hour and a half, if one person can wake up and see it, then I'm satisfied. Because that person might show the video to other people or look up the stuff and have other conversations. So I keep plugging away. Netanyahu has not been seen in public for a week, fueling speculation he was killed in a missile attack. A recent AI television appearance has only increased the uncertainty. Nobody seems to know where it is all going. So you don't know who's really giving the speech in any of their public speeches now, including President Donald Trump. It very well could be AI. And I believe it's been going on quite a while. And people have been reporting on it for quite a while. Everything's a stage right now. You can't believe anything. Anything. Especially the news. But I like to watch it. And it gets my blood pressure up for a few minutes. The heart rate going. Don't have to run and jog. I just watch that and get frustrated. Good thing I don't have any bricks in the house. I throw it at the screen. The only clarity I can offer is that everything you are seeing is all part of a plan to create a one-world government. Do you believe that? Are you ready for this? The actual world government will be a response to the announced hostile extraterrestrial presence. So apparently, so many people believing in the round trip to the moon with the Artemis craft, which the name is the goddess Artemis, and the previous craft that went to the moon was Apollo, which was the god Apollo. What's with that? It's all occult. Can't you see it? And I know some of you, it's all rhetorical. Of course you can see it. So everybody's seeing the fact that there's going to be an announced hostile extraterrestrial presence. And basically they're going to announce these demons and beings they've been bringing through already and say that they're extraterrestrials and probably a threat to mankind. Like Ronald Reagan said, if only we had an alien threat, then everybody would work together to fight that threat on the planet. If it's a planet, which I don't think it's a planet. You got to watch out for my Freudian speech. Somebody will get in the comment section and say, Rick, it's not a planet. Give me a break. This world, can I call it a world? Well, maybe it's not really a world. Maybe it's just some kind of plasma matrix. It's so technologically real, I really think this is all real. See where this is going? You can go a little crazy thinking about this stuff. But don't let that bother you. You are a spiritual being. Nobody gets off of, out of this world. Let me say it that way. Nobody gets out of this world alive. You can't take anything you got with you. Just remember that. You start worrying. Oh. You can't take any. The only thing you're going to take with you is the same package you came to this world in. You were born into this world naked and crying, and you're going to wind up probably dying in a bed, maybe naked and crying. All right. Announced hostile extraterrestrial presence. According to several insiders, once the Iran war escalates to a serious level, either sometime this year or next year, we will suddenly be informed that hostile ETs are either on the way here or that they have attacked Earth. And like I said, if everybody believed in the circling the moon with the goddess Artemis craft, they'll believe whatever they're told. Just remember that. The people around you will believe whatever hoax is coming. They say it again. All the people, most of the people around you, if you don't believe, you're not going to believe it, will believe it. You'll be vainless effort trying to tell them it's not what they're telling you. They're doing it. They got holographic technologies. They got all kinds of directed energy weapons. They can make everybody see things. They're already connecting to the brains. But most people, So you got to be a little tactful in your plan when it starts to happen. You can run around trying to tell people. They're going to think you're a lunatic when they're the actual lunatics. Bunch of zombies, automatons. All thoughts of the war, politics, health, money will disappear as we unite to repel the common threat. You see? All the worries you have will all go away because of this common threat. It is literally the oldest trick in the book, yet they know it will work. If you find yourself falling for fear, just remember how much the government, the media, and the experts lied to you about COVID and the injections. And then realize they haven't finished with you yet. I got a little article on that. I got something called a hantavirus. Get that, a hanta. It's gonna hanta you, hanta virus. And of course, somebody in the comments section will say, "Oh no, they've never identified viruses; they don't exist." And then I want to comment back: did they get sick? Did they die? It's a bioweapon, electromagnetic weapon, something. But they label it a virus for these things that they don't really want you to know, which I believe, to a large extent, is miniature bacteria, mycoplasma, which there are government patents on that they patent. It's so small, doctors can't see it. So it's a bacteria, and there's some of them that are very pathogenic, dangerous. And they can put some little powder on your car handle of your car, and you touch it, you'll get it. You'll get the respiratory problems and everything else, and would not in a short period of time fall over dead. And they'll tell you you caught a virus, and everybody else ought to be in lockdown when they delivered it. I've gone over this stuff again and again and again. All right, what else? Try and move on with Duncan's letter. Oldest trick in the book. And please don't expect the white hats or Trump or Nasara, Gassara or friendly ETs to come and fix up our mess. A lot of time and energy will be spent on convincing you of the end times apocalypse narratives. So whatever happens, they're doing it. It's not something coming from God. If anything, it's coming from a demon. Lucifer, Satan, Baal, Moloch, which they build all these images of. You can go to the Bohemian Grove in California and throw a baby into a fire under Moloch. What's with that? Putting the archway of Baal in New York, London, and now President Trump wants to put a big archway in Washington, D.C., and build a ballroom, which looks like similar design to a Masonic temple, which is a similar design to King Solomon's temple. Continuing on. Got to get a drink of water. Do a bit of walking around for a minute. A little bit of energy to do this. 99% of my videos are the first run. Whatever pours out of my mouth and my brain, that's what I put in the videos. And yes, I make mistakes. And of course, I don't know everything. But at least I'm willing to discuss it and ponder it and pray on it and admit when I'm wrong. So anything I'm talking about, if you think I am 100% wrong and you want to be respectful and intelligent, there's a comment section or my email. Oh yeah, FYI, I got a Florida P.O. box. So in the email, in the notes section below the video, is my new mailing address about 5 blocks away, the post office. I finally got a Florida P.O. box. That takes time to get everything done. The other P.O. box in North Carolina still works, and it will be paid for another year if anything comes to it. And a friend of mine checks it once in a while. I finally emptied out my last storage unit. A friend of mine brought my last of my stuff down in a trailer. So I'm not paying $118 a month for stuff that's mostly junk. You know, we all have so much junk. And I've been taking a lot of it to the Goodwill store. So I paid him some money to bring it down, like $500. And I was paying $118 a month, and I said, I gotta stop this because a lot of it's junk. We all have so much junk, you know? That's what happens when you get older. You spend all your life collecting stuff, and then you spend the last part of it trying to get rid of the stuff. Funny. Because when you leave, you're just taking yourself. And you can't be really afraid and have fear because you're a spiritual being anyways. This is just a flash in time in eternity. Your visit to this world and your life here, and you leave it. If you look in the scope of time, it's just a flash of time. It's all into perspective. So watch the show, as Max Egan says. Not going to say enjoy the show. But there's a reason we're here. So this article says here, they're going to try to convince you it's the end times apocalypse narratives. But they won't happen. And that's another big issue I'm faced with right now. When they do whatever they're going to do to crash the system, and they will, they have to. They're already slowly doing it, implementing it. Every time I log on to one of my accounts or this account, they're now trying to steer me towards doing biometrics, a fingerprint or an eye, whatever, scan my eye. And I refuse, and I got to figure a way out of the login to get into my account. So I either got to close the account or open up a different one elsewhere, but they're going to be doing it too. So my point to the story is when they do crash the system and they tell everybody not to panic, just go down to your local bank or your local post office or wherever they tell you to go, and we're going to get you a digital ID, get you an eye scan, maybe an implant in your forehead or your off right hand, so you can walk around being scanned and you can buy and sell. And maybe most people can put that together and say, no, I don't want that. But that's not going to be the case. Most people are going to take it. So then there is those few of us who are not going to take it, and we're going to be completely locked out of the system, even our own money. And you won't have a day or two to go get it. And even if you do go get it now, and God forbid you turned it into gold, they know you got the gold. They'll be coming for you because you got the gold. If you think you got money in the bank, I'll go get it when it happens. It crashed. You can't get back in without your ID. You're not going to be able to have anything, to do anything. Whatever, all you're going to have is what you got on you. And I don't know how much limited time they will give us. Maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. To have the money you have on you. They won't let you get any more out or a limited amount out. So you got a plan where you're going to go because you're not going to join the system. You're not going to take the mark of the beast and become a slave or surrender your life if you're not useful to them, and your children's life if they need some playthings. The perverts, sick psychopathics, demon people. They're doing all this crazy stuff, killing right in front of our eyes, stealing from us right in front of our eyes. A couple months into this war, And the gas was 5 something. Some places, they're stealing from us, which they've been doing for quite a while. This article says there will be no return of Jesus, no Antichrist, no Messiah, no rapture, and no 5D ascension. So I don't think anybody of us knows how it's going to pan out for the believers. I know what the Bible says. But you got to have a plan. Where will you go? How can you eat and sleep? Just saying to me. I'd like to hear people discussing it with family and friends. And if anybody has any recommendations on how to exist, and they're not going to let you exist outside the system. You're going to be a criminal. And of course, they got the drones and all the robots and all the zombies to come get you. Probably put a bounty on you. The mob mentality, promising them some extra food or something if they'll bring in somebody who's not tagged. That promises to be interesting, but you can't deny the fact that they are doing horrific things every day. Horrific. Including promoting hantavirus. You can't even come up with a better name than hantavirus. I read the whole article. These are all narratives planted into society by those wishing to control the human herd in a run-up to a world government. So there's going to be that transition. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to stand your ground? Speaking of standing your ground, how are you going to protect yourself? You got any seeds? You know how to rough it? Got any supplies you might need? Not trying to... I don't know if it'll happen this year, like Duncan says in this letter. There will, however, be massive shifts in consciousness. A continuation of the awakening that started with COVID-19. So, it would be fortunate if so many people would wake up and not go into the mob mentality and take over our towns and our cities ourselves. Just say no to them. Now, there's a solution. But you're going to have to talk to people in your neighborhood and your family. Word's going to have to spread around, and quickly. Meetings. But don't forget, don't bring your cell phone, because then they'll see there's 6 or more gathered together. That's a no-no. That's in the Protocols of Zion, Jewish Utopia, Communist Manifesto, all our books. Whenever they have 6 or more together, there will be a spy among them. I believe they have spies amongst us all everywhere right now. Okay, that's it. Now he wants to talk about a few of his friends that died, so we're not going to talk about that. Then we go to the next page. And I got letters to the editor. I like to read those. And just this and that. One letter to the editor was rather interesting, something I already knew about. But apparently, at the time of Atlantis, and there have been these catastrophic changes in the Earth's crust and other things, I do believe there were pre-existing societies prior to this one. Obviously, their monuments are everywhere all over the world, including those big caves in the Andes Mountains. And then the Hopi prophecy in New Mexico, Arizona. And in Romania, I made book reviews on all this stuff. The Advanced Tech in the Mountains there by Peter Moon. Anyways, all over the world. And the big monuments in Egypt and the big monuments in the Mayan Mexico and Guatemala and all over South America, all over Africa, all over Asia, all over North America, the Turtle Mounds. So there's things that they did back then that clearly showed a two-tiered or more, two-tiered society. The advanced technology run by the elite and the masses of slaves. And I believe that's what they call the golden age. That's what they want to bring back. So when I saw this letter to the editor, this guy was just pointing out that Tony Bushby articles, Bushby, that he was complimenting Duncan by publishing Tony Bushby's articles, Bushby. But he said, there's something I haven't seen I need to remind you of. Again, something I already knew about, because I have about 10 books on Atlantis. Edgar Cayce readings on Atlantis. Human biological automatons were an integral part of Atlantean society. Let me read it again, slowly. Human biological automatons, like human zombies, robot controlled, like they're doing right now with the mRNA vaccinations and all these other technologies, were an integral part of Atlantean society. So back then they had the human automaton zombies. And apparently they're planning on that now, if they don't already have a lot of people already mesmerized and full of all kind of demonic tattoos and everything all around us right now. We can see it. And have already rejected any religion their parents believed in and their grandparents. So way back in prior ages, when the Atlantis islands were sinking, some of them, of course, went to South America, and the pyramids are there, and some of them went to North America, Egypt, and other places, and the pyramids are there, the monuments are there. Some of them probably went to India, Asia, and the monuments are there. But they do talk about, in those books I had, of these human automatons that were an integral part of Atlantean society. And they want to, and this was called the Golden Age back then. And they want to bring back the Golden Age. President Donald Trump even said it. So they want to do is they convert a huge portion of society into biological automatons. And like Klaus Schwab said of the Economic Forum, you will own nothing, but you will be happy. And you won't be eating meat. It's because you're not going to care. You're going to be an automaton. You're going to be like a dog or a cat and be happy what they put in your bowl, probably on the ground. Do you get it? Your brain's going to be controlled by them. You're going to be a zombie. You're going to be gone. They made the show. They've been showing us. Anybody disagree with the things I'm saying, please, comment section, email. When the flood sank the islands of Atlantis, some of these human biological automatons were taken to Egypt, with the survivors fleeing the destruction. And I've got over 10 books on Atlantis. And apparently it caused a big rift between the Atlanteans and the people in Egypt, because the people in Egypt didn't like all these hybrid human-animal slaves. And we've seen all the mythological characters. And we can go look on the Egyptian hieroglyphics right now. Go on your computer and see the hybrid animal humans, the automatons. And then we can see now they've already created half pig, half human, and cloning other animals and mixing and genetically modified animals and food. They're going to genetically modify humans. It's going to be a horror show. Apparently that's why God brought on the flood. That's exactly what they had done back then. They had polluted all of God's creation, humanity, and polluted the animal world too, if you look at mythological characters, creatures. You know, what would you do if you were a higher power and this was your creation, and some evil forces, fallen angels and demons, were having sex with all the animals and creating all the creatures that are in mythological creatures? Go look at that stuff. That's the occultism. They're opening up portals. They're going to communicate with computers. And that's where they're getting the information. Nikola Tesla told us, and so many other people told us. Interesting, reading this stuff. Another article here on plasma reality. I'll skip that now for now. Human brain cells on a chip learning to play complex games. So you don't think they're going to be designing these automatons? Robotic, controlled by maybe human cells. They'll have to recruit a whole bunch of people. I should say abduct a whole bunch of people, to extract some eyeballs and other parts of the human anatomy. Wait a minute, Rick, they've already been doing that. It's been reported in a lot of UFO and alien abduction books. Not so far-fetched. But you got to get your mind out there and realize that, look at the Egyptian hieroglyphics. Look at the American Indian totem poles. Look at the Mayan buildings and the images of the beings. Go downtown and see those gargoyles and beings on your old downtown buildings right here in the United States, all over Europe, all over India, China, Japan, Africa, South America, North America. Just saying. They're back. President Donald Trump talked about the golden age. Pam Bondi talked about Trump's golden age. This was the golden age when they had automatons. Don't be surprised at anything. Oh, here's another article here. After letter to the editors, they have what you call global news. Global news. And I'm not reading all of this, so go by the local big bookstore and get your Nexus magazine or go online and order it. It has all this information, and you're paying attention to everything else, and you're watching some videos, and you can use your common sense and figure this out. What the heck is going on? It is what you think it is. The world is being changed intentionally for the elites who like to do some of the things they did in Jeffrey Epstein's dungeon, and they have those dungeons all over the world. AI can now unmask anonymous internet users. AI can now unmask anonymous internet users. So I do know there's a war now on VRNs. I think that's the acronym, where you can go get something that makes you look like you have a different address than you do. What was that article in Omaha, Nebraska? They're making it illegal to get a VRN or something. So they don't want you to be anonymous. When they pull the trigger, they want to know exactly who's who and where they are. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. What you gonna do when they come for you? It looks like AI can now unmask any anonymous account on the internet. And it's got some sources here. Modern large language models, LLMs, can re-identify people behind pseudonyms, online accounts, at a scale and accuracy that far surpass previous techniques. Given post, comments, or interview transcripts written under a pseudonym, a pipeline extracts identity-relevant signals, searches for likely matches using semantic embeddings, and then uses highly level reasoning to verify the most promising candidates while filtering out false positives. So they're going to come up with a psychological profile of the pseudonym, your anonymous identity. Take a psychological profile, then go through their database, and they've got psychological profiles on all of us. They've been collecting data for a long time. Then it'll go bang, 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 we got a match here. So you can try to run and hide, but we're all in the system. So we got to plan accordingly. I can't emphasize that enough. You got to plan on this actually happening. If it doesn't happen before you expire and leave this world, yay! But then again, you're going to leave behind family and children, or, what about them? Or don't you care about them? So this has got to be nipped in the bud now. And of course, my solution is connect with your religious background and get connected. Do a little digging. Seek and ye shall find. Ask and ye shall receive. I believe that. If it's my time to go, because I'm not going to take the mark of the beast. I'm not going to get indoctrinated and be a controlled automaton in their system. What are you going to do? Think about it. This is all real. If you don't think it's real, talk to the Palestine people. Talk to the Iraq people. Talk to the Ukraine people. Talk to the Iran people. Talk to the Lebanese people. Talked about all these immigrants that they've been rounding up. That first they poured them all into the country. And that's a game, because the Republican Party and the Democratic Party and all the two-party systems, three-party systems all over the world and all of the countries, all leaderships are in this together. They all cooperated during the COVID lockdown. Don't you get it? Klaus Schwab bragged about it. They all went to his school preparing for this stuff. Trudeau in Canada, the current guy in Canada, the leader of Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Mexico. They got a Jewish president in Mexico. We got a Jewish president in the United States. Look up Donald Trump converted to Judaism. You can't make that up. Okay, what is Judaism? It's Kabbalism, Kabbalah, Talmud, Zohar. What is that? That's a sorcerer. What's with the sorcerer? Go watch another commercial on Amazon. If we have our way, the world can dry up and wither away. Who said that? Benjamin Netanyahu. When we get done milking the golden calf, U.S. can dry up and go away. So it's going to be a controlled third world country. Policed by some of our own, so they can live a little better than we will. But the rest of us will all be corralled, killed, or slaved or something. Utilized for sex purposes, food purposes, slave purposes. Remember, they call us goy goyim. That means cattle. Freemasons, Illuminati, all those secret society call us profane. They say that they're righteous and we're profane. I'm not kidding you. The people who worship Satan, Lucifer, say that they are righteous. They've admitted they worship Lucifer. Albert Pike admitted it. So they're righteous. The demon worshipers are righteous. That's the world you're in. I had to take a pause for a moment, check the clock, see where I'm at. I got a few minutes to wrap up this video. So the broader implication that they can unmask anonymous internet users is that practical obscurity, the idea that scattered pseudonymous posts are safe because linking them is too labor intensive, may no longer hold. So of course the computers can figure out who you are. And it's easier than that. And then they got another one here, peer-reviewed research. Medical journals are paid for by Big Pharma. So all the people who work for the medical journals telling you how things are safe or good, they're paid for by the same people who are producing the pharmaceuticals and the medical industry and the vaccinations. They're paying the people who are going to write the reviews. It says here, as little as $7,614. Some of them get $43,000. Some of them get $153,000. Lordy, lordy. Okay, I'm going to go through this really quick. CIA documents reveal plans to control humans via vaccinations. I'll read it slowly. CIA documents reveal plans to control humans via vaccinations. Nicholas Hulcher, MPH, whatever that is. So since 2021, 70% of humanity has received a neurotoxin agent masquerading as a vaccine. So it's a whole page here. Go get the magazine. I read it all. Automatons. Same problem Egypt had when the Atlanteans came. Well, apparently their great golden age society was based on a two-tier society. Them and the automatons. But I say two-tiered because it could be three tiers. Them and their management level folks, and then all the slaves and sex tools, toys, and animals, the lower level. That walking amongst us will be all kinds of characters like in Star Wars movie, different kind of animals and humans and all that, because they have the technology. It promises to be really grotesque. The next one here was an interesting article, and I haven't finished it, but I'll introduce you to it if you want to go get this magazine. Jeffrey Epstein and the Rothschilds. So in one of Jeffrey Epstein's emails to, you're going to love this, Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal and Palantir. So these people bringing us the AI system in cahoots with Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein says in his email to Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal Palantir, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. They control the money all over the world. They have, you can go look up Rothschilds owned banks. The name Rothschilds appears 12,000 times across 3.8 million pages. Released January 2026. So I have not sought out where these Jeffrey Epstein files are. I guess I ought to do a couple searches. Type in the Rothschilds and see how they're being used in that in those 3.8 million pages. Repeating the name Rothschilds in an investigative context is automatically reclassified as a conspiratorial delusion. So I'm sure if you talk about the Rothschilds, you'll also be accused of anti-Semitism. So this is convenient when yours is the most cited name in the largest child sex trafficking scandal in modern history. And remember, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Study reveals most baby foods sold in U.S. are ultra-processed. So baby foods include flavor enhancers, 63%, 36%, thickeners, 29%, emulsifiers, 19%, artificial colors, 19%. All this garbage in your baby food. Go get some food, cook it, and mash it up and feed it to the baby. You don't need to give it the garbage. Secret tunnels throughout Peru. I've talked about this before. Tunnels that they couldn't build today. Alright, I wanted to talk about one thing before I end this video. I do believe if they got 70% of the people vaccinated, that they need to try to get the other 30%, excluding themselves. And of course, how are they going to do that? Well, even President Joe Biden said this not too long ago. The next time around, there'll be no exemptions from the vaccine. I do believe they're planning on doing it again. And they're going to try to be more forceful to the 30%, 28%, 25%, if I exclude them from the whole thing. So this hantavirus, apparently article coming out just recently, May 6th, yesterday, we confirm 8 confirmed and suspected cases of hantavirus after Swiss authorities say a man who traveled on the affected cruise ship had tested positive. So just like the Artemis moon circling shenanigans, proven to be bizarre and obvious, created in staged setups and AI and all of that. So this is all being staged. If you read who's releasing the information, and so what that is that's presetting humanity, getting you the context of this conversation out there. You're going to see a lot more of it. Getting you ready, like 9/11, the Iraqi people are all evil. This Saddam Hussein is yanking babies from incubators, which they say that all the people they want to demonize. So the patients were taken to the Netherlands for urgent medical care. The head of the World Health Organization, WHO, and the World Health Organization apparently has come up with new treaty agreements with all the countries in the world that the next time that we have a declared pandemic, they are put in ultimate control of everything. And like President Joe Biden said in one of his speeches, the next time around, there'll be no exceptions. So I do think that they're not through with the hybridization of humanity, getting everybody technologically turned into some kind of automaton zombie, or susceptible to frequencies that can just make you drop on the spot. And save some money on bullets, you know. However, on Wednesday, Canary Island regional leader Fernando opposed the ship docking there. This decision is not based on any technical criteria, nor is there sufficient information to assure the public or guarantee their safety. So they can't allow the ship to go to the Canary Islands. Hantavirus is typically passed from rodents to humans. I guess the coronavirus came from bats, so they tell us. Then I've already showed you the article where that was a big farce, and they've already got 70% of the population hooked up with these nanoparticles. Apparently, some of them you can take your phone and hook it up to Bluetooth and track people who's got a signal. It's no joke. Hantavirus is typically passed from rodents to humans through feces, saliva, and urine. So I'm sure there's always been these illnesses. I mean, you're on a cruise ship, it has a kitchen, it has bags of flour, bags of macaroni, whatever, bags of corn chips, and I'm sure some rats or some mice get in there. So it can happen. But I don't think that's what all this is about. And how when you go to the doctor and they say, oh, you got the hantavirus. What medical doctor is going to check you for hantavirus downtown right now? But apparently you can go to the pharmacy market and get a $10 kit to tell you have the coronavirus. Baloney! They said they've never identified a virus yet. It's so small they can't see it. But they got this test kit that can just say you got it. Some kind of other marker in there. Probably part of that nanotechnology, graphene stuff. The confirmed hantavirus cases include a British passenger who is in intensive care in Johannesburg, South Africa, a Dutch woman who died while disembarking with the body of her husband, who had shown symptoms before his death. So they're going through great lengths to do 5 pages in this report. 2 of those affected, I'm only reading my highlighted portions. The Dutch woman who died in Johannesburg and the British man, so they keep reiterating these cases. If they only got 8, they got to take 5 pages and tell you again and again and again. What wasn't that Goebbels in Germany who said, you tell a big lie, you tell it long enough, and the people will believe it. I can see how this propaganda in this one 5-page article repeatedly tells the same story. This is the only strain that is known to cause human-to-human transmission, but such transmission is very rare. As said earlier, only happens due to very close contact, says South Africa's health ministry. So you got the Canary Islands, you got the Netherlands, you got South Africa. People can get the hantavirus by coming into close contacts with rodents, such as mice and rats particularly, when exposed to their urine, feces. And of course, on a cruise ship, they got rats and mice, and they can get into the food supply probably fairly easy, just like they can in your house. Go in your cupboard, you see a little bit of mouse poop on the shelf, you go, oh my! In the Americas, hantavirus can cause hantavirus cardiopulmonary syndrome, a respiratory illness. Respiratory illnesses are going around. I'm still suffering from one. I never did get my ivermectin in the mail. I wonder what's with that. May never show up. Early symptoms include fatigue, fever, muscle aches. Half the patients also experience headache, dizziness, chills, gastrointestinal problems, according to the CDC. All these organizations implicated with the hoax coronavirus. They're publishing this article and they're expecting everybody to believe it. But of course, a lot of people are going to believe it. They're automatons. They're programmed. They started playing on social media before they even entered school. 2 or 3 years old. They were zombie watching the cartoons and programmed. All right, it's enough of that. Pay attention to these press releases. It's so easy to see it. Once you wake up and you see it, you watch the news and you see it every day, you go, wow, Rick is right. This is too easy to see. All right, if you like my videos, consider making a donation. Like I said before, the Florida P.O. Box is below in the notes section. Download my videos, keep a copy, look up the stuff, go get the magazine. Well, I can tell you, if you're not convinced this is 100% real, look into this stuff. Find one fault. Give me a comment. Give me an email. Prove me wrong. Nobody would be more delighted than me. Send a link to the video to other people. Mock me. Say, this guy's a lunatic. What do you think? Just maybe, if I tell a big amount of truth long enough, maybe, like Goebbels said, tell a big lie long enough. What if I tell the truth long enough? Which I think I have been doing long enough. And big enough. And so much. A plethora of videos on my channel. 3,000, over 300, almost 3,400. And if you make a donation, or you can't make a donation and you want a copy of a 40-page directory, I'll email it to you. Send an email saying, can I have a page of your Excel directory of 3,300 videos sorted by the different categories and, the different series, the book review series, the current event series, etc., etc., the Rick Miracle video collection series. I got 40 pages like a phone book directory. You can just go through there and see the titles and watch what you want. And really do what I did in 21 years. You can do it in less than a year. You just look at what you want and watch. Anyways, thanks for watching my video, and all those who do help me out, thank you very much. It is appreciated. And those of you who supply information and other resources, thank you very much. It is appreciated. Those of you who are taking this material, waking up other people, thank you very much. It is appreciated. And let's all of us get together and talk to the higher power, whatever we believe it is. In my case, I believe that Jesus of Nazarene is my Savior. And I get all the debates in the note section. Oh no, the Old Testament, Jehovah, all this crazy stuff. I don't have time to be bothered with that. Our world is being destroyed and taken over right in front of our eyes. But do we have eyes to see, and ears to hear, and a brain to think with? We're spiritual beings. This little visit to this world, I guess it's going to matter when you leave it and you get to the other side. Well, how'd you do in that world? Oh man, I took the mark of the beast. I enjoyed it. Really? Oh, I fought it. I resisted. I tried to stop the madness, the things they're doing to the children, all the people they're killing. Really? What are they going to say about you when you get to the other side? Rick Miracle reporting.